Hello and welcome. My name is Fe Rye. I am so excited to have you listening. I am a fitness professional, a nutritionist, and a lifestyle medicine practitioner. I'm currently undertaking my very final subjects in my master's degree in lifestyle medicine, and I will complete that degree in 2025. I'm a little bit excited about that. Part of that degree has really thrown me into the topic of today, which is the microbiome. I got really curious about the microbiome when I started to notice that with the changes that I was prescribing to clients and family members around their diet, we started to see some improvements in their mental health. So that really threw me into a deep dive of research. I'm passionate about research. I love learning new things, and I love being able to try and bring this to life for those of you who may not be a nerd like me and like poring over research papers. I literally have a pile of them on my tablet. I read them when I'm on the go and flying and what have you, when I'm traveling. And the microbiome is definitely one of my favorite topics. So today I thought I would start my very first podcast with my favorite topic in the hope that you might learn something. And if you do, you might want to make some changes or at least share this with someone that you love. So whether you are familiar with the microbiome or not, I'm going to explain it from the beginning so that you can have a better understanding. It's a tiny universe within us. And if you are hearing about it for the first time, today's discussion will give you a bit of a fresh perspective on why your gut health matters. And I'm going to aim this, most of my podcasts are aimed at women over 40, but at the end of the day, microbiomes are unique to each one of us. And so it doesn't matter what age you are, hopefully you'll learn something today that you can take away and have a better understanding. So what is it? How does it work? And how are we going to support it through powerful dietary and lifestyle changes? So let's start with the basics. The microbiome is a collection of trillions of microbes that live inside and on our bodies. And most of these microbes reside in our gut, particularly in the colon, which is also known as the large intestine. And these microbes include bacteria and fungi, viruses and other organisms that do play a crucial role in our overall health. So if you think of it as an internal ecosystem, it works in harmony with our entire body. And I found this really fascinating when I was learning about the microbiome, because the human genome, all our genes, we have about 40,000 genes, but the microbiome contains 100 times more genes. Our microbes in our gut significantly influence our digestion, immunity, and even our brain health. And just like fingerprints, everyone's microbiome is unique and shaped by factors like diet, environment, and lifestyle. So one of the microbiome's most important roles is processing what we eat, particularly fiber. So let's break it down. When we consume simple sugars, such as those in sugary drinks or processed foods, they are rapidly absorbed in the small intestine. And this quick absorption can lead to blood sugar spikes and crashes, making us feel tired or hungry soon after. And if you're a parent, you probably notice this in your kids, particularly if they go to a birthday party, smash down all those sugary processed foods at the birthday party. They come home, they're cranky, they're tired but wired, and then they're hungry because they haven't really eaten anything of significance. But fiber, on the other hand, it's a game changer. And unlike simple sugars, the fiber resists the digestion in the small intestine and makes its way to the colon or the large intestine. And so it becomes food for our gut microbes. Now, these microbes ferment the fiber and produce the compounds called short-chain fatty acids, or CFAs. And these support our gut health. they help to reduce inflammation and even influence that brain function, and there is research to show this. Fiber essentially acts as a prebiotic, feeding the good bugs and the good bacteria and helping them to thrive. So the connection between microbiome and metabolism is an interesting one, because a diet rich in fiber doesn't just feed those microbes. It also slows the absorption of carbohydrates, and that prevents those sudden spikes in sugar levels, and it's crucial for maintaining that steady energy throughout the day. And this is where it gets interesting, because another key player here is a hormone called GLP-1. Now, this is getting a lot of action in the media at the moment, because GLP-1 helps regulate the appetite and the blood sugar levels. And its analogues are medications Ozempic and Wegovy. So if you've heard of those, that's pretty much what it is. It's a GLP-1 analogue. And it's used to manage weight and diabetes. But here is the exciting news. Your body can naturally boost GLP-1 levels through a fiber-rich diet. And when your gut microbes ferment the fiber, they stimulate the release of GLP-1, helping you feel fuller for longer, reducing that risk of overeating. So isn't that fascinating? So whilst, Ozempic and Wegovy, they have their place for people who are being prescribed those drugs. However, it's really important to understand that our body can actually boost this GLP-1 if we just switch up our diet. So our modern diets, unfortunately, we're just not doing our microbiomes any favours. In Australia, the stats from the Australian Bureau of Statistics showed that only 6% of Aussies are getting the 2 fruits and 5 veg a day. And I'm going to pick on that because that's a great source of fibre. And processed foods, which make up a significant part of our average diet, are very, very low in fibre, but very high in those simple sugars. So as you can see, those simple sugars are feeding the small intestine, not getting to the large intestine, where our good bacteria are just waiting. They are waiting there to be fed. Think of it as a little puppy waiting for it to be fed, wagging its tail, knowing that the food's coming, and then getting nothing because it went to the small intestine, and the good bacteria got nothing. The bad bacteria got it all. So having this combination of low fiber, high simple sugars really diminishes the diversity of gut microbes, and that's linked to higher risk of conditions like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and even colorectal cancer, which is on the rise. So hopefully you can see the link. When we have a diet that's lacking fiber, we're not feeding our good bugs. We need to feed our good bugs so that they can get to work on all of those systematic processes that they do in the body in relation to inflammation, brain function, and just making us feel fuller for longer. We're not having that sugar spike. So when we think about what we're eating and what we're putting on a plate, the good news is that even small changes can make a big difference. So incorporating more whole food, plant-based foods like oats and beans and lentils and fruits and vegetables can significantly improve microbiome health. And diversity is key here. Have you ever heard of eating the rainbow? Aiming for a colourful plate and a variety of fibre sources to give your gut microbes the fuel that they need to thrive. This is really, really important. The other problem that we have is that we generally are not eating seasonally. And if you go into some of our bigger grocery food chains, you will notice that there's big tubs of potatoes and big tubs of oranges that may not be seasonal, imported, who knows where they've come from. But the issue that we have is we're not getting variety. We are a meat and 3 veg nation, and those 3 veg are generally same, and same. So when you stand in a supermarket and you look at those big tubs of potatoes and the small tubs of asparagus, and not so much in the Brussels sprouts area, you really get a sense of consumer-driven fruits and vegetables. So what they're selling more of is what people are taking more of. So we really need to start thinking about getting some extra fruits and veggies on our plate and making it interesting. I'm a big fan of farmers markets. I'm a big fan of getting out and meeting the farmers in our area, finding out what they're growing, how they're growing it. That may be of interest to you, but definitely thinking about getting more colour on your plate. So I'm going to wrap this up shortly because I really want to keep these podcasts short and sweet in the hope that you can learn something without being too overwhelmed. So we've discovered what the microbiome is and how it works and why fibre is its best friends. And I just want you to remember that the microbiome is a powerful ally in maintaining your health, especially as we get older, but for all ages. So in our next episode, because the microbiome must be continued, I will definitely talk more into specific types of fibre, the types of resistant starches and fermented foods that can supercharge your gut health, and we'll also dive into lifestyle factors as well. So thank you for joining me on my very, very first podcast. I hope that you have learned something today, and if you have, share it with a friend, and let's start thinking about what more we can put on our plate in relation to fibre and colours. And join me next time when I give you some of my hot tips for that. Thank you so much for joining me.